Have you ever watched those YouTube videos where it's like, I will not breathe until Mr. Beast comments on this video? I'm kind of doing the same thing, except that I won't stop making videos about debt payoff for doctors until a doctor comments on my video. And so I've been making videos about, oh, just paying off $836,000 in less than 10 years as a doctor. Not a big deal. And we'll just do that again right now because I just cranked out 2 or 3 videos today, and we're going to go ahead and pay off debt using this thing that we now call the velocity debt payoff method. We're going through several iterations of the name, but we'll call it the velocity debt payoff method now. And so here's what we're going to do. We're going to have this same income, same budget, right? Starting off at negative $477 and turn this into $9,685.89 of cash flow in less than 10 years, right? So at month, yeah, at the 90th, ninth year mark is when we become debt free. So let's go ahead and get started and reset everything and start from the very beginning. So if you're a doctor and you've somehow come onto this channel and you're like, what the F is this? Leave a comment below. Notice me, senpai. That's what we're going to do, okay? So we have a doctor who makes good money, but doctors have debt. And I'm pretty sure they just don't have student debt, but they have all kinds of debt. So we loaded up debt with this doctor, which is 10 credit cards, right? And then we have an auto loan, a student loan, and a mortgage. And then we have our personal expenses on top of that, not tied to debt: food, gas, insurance, all the other good stuff. Okay. So now what we're going to show here is that, hey, same income, and let's go ahead and copy the expenses, same expenses, but we're going to be intentional about a certain thing. And what is that certain thing? That we don't save money. I know that's crazy, right? So even if we were positive right now, we wouldn't save money. And when we're negative, we're definitely going to not save money. Okay. And you're like, what's the difference, right? Because the way that we treat our bank accounts is what determines what's the difference between the left column and the right columns, because the income is the same. We're just changing the flow of money. See, in the first column, your checking account is basically seen as the final destination of your money. That's how we're taught to do banking. Pay your bills, put the leftover in your checking, and in case of emergencies, that's the responsible thing to do. I mean, what's Dave Ramsey's baby step number one? Save $1,000, right? So how are you going to save $1,000 here? We can't. We're literally going negative. Okay, we owe the bank negative 477. So what we're going to do is increase this thing called cash flow. So in the average doctor, average American banking paradigm, checking, savings, cash flow are considered to be the same. When we do this method, it's not, right? Because your checking account is not seen as the final destination of your money. It's just seen as a temporary uh, bus stop. I don't know any other way to say it, okay? And so what we're going to do is we're going to move some debt into something called a line of credit, and then that's where all of our entire money is going to go, right? So what's a line of credit? It's basically a financial tool where you could borrow money, pay it back, and use it over and over again, right? So if you know what a home equity or a personal line of credit is, it's like a credit card, but even more flexible than a credit card. See, here's the thing about credit cards, right? You can't dump your entire paycheck into a credit card because if you need to pay another credit card, then you're screwed, right? You might have to take cash advances, but when you do it with a personal or home equity line of credit, you can just take out the money that you put in like the very next moment, like 5 seconds later, right? So we're going to assume we have that. Now, here's the thing: if you're negative $477.40, I'm going to be real with you, and most people don't want to hear this. Okay, a lot of people don't want to hear this. You're not going to get a free and clear line of credit from the bank, because who does the bank lend to? People who don't need money. That's who the bank lends to. And so basically what happens in your typical bank is they basically stop 90% of applications before they get to underwriting, because underwriting is expensive. So they want to make sure that at the application level, if there's any sign that you need money or that you're a fake business, right? That's another one too. They don't want anything to do with you. Okay, that's how it works, folks. So that's basically what we're going to do, is that we're going to what are we gonna do? Move some money into a free and clear line of credit, but it's like a chicken and egg thing, right? Like, are you gonna get a free and clear line of credit when you're here? No, because banks don't lend money to people who need it. So what's the point of me demonstrating a free and clear line of credit? Is because, like, hey, if you knew the strategy from the beginning, you'd probably never even be here. And if you want to see more realistic scenarios, join the 99 cent YouTube channel membership. that has realistic scenarios where people send me their spreadsheets and it's like 22 debts, $4 left over. What do I do? And I'm like, I took, I think 1 hour and 30 minutes to go over that case. That was crazy. But yeah, join the YouTube channel membership. All right. So now this is what we're going to do. We're going to um, we have this thing called the cash flow index, right? So it's just a basic formula of your debt amount divided by the payment, right? Divide this by this, and then we're ranking all of our debts, right? Ranking all of our debts. So this is the lowest one or one of the lowest ones, and then this is the highest one. So the highest one is basically saying, hey, if you pay this off today, you're going to give me a lot of money, and you're going to get tiny amount of cash flow for that, right? The 30-year mortgage, borrow lots of money for a tiny amount of cash flow. Now, when you're in this range, right, it's like, little money for lots of cash flow. That's basically what he's saying. So think about this. You do you want to pay 430,000 for $2,000 cash flow, or do you want to pay 35,000 and $30,000 just for almost the same amount? So 65,000 for about $2,000 of cash flow, or even a little bit more, versus 430,000. I'm not going to pay off the mortgage first. In fact, someone introduced me to the pill method, said pay off your mortgage first, and I was like, that makes no sense. But it is what it is, and I might do investigation on it later. But we're going to pay off these credit cards first. Now you might say, why is that? Well, think about this, okay? Well, how much credit card debt do we have? Well, it's 5, 8, 15, 27, 37, 10, 35, 12, 15. And I'm just going to do this, and it's going to be $164,000. So we sum it up, okay? $164,000, and then we just move it here. Well, guess what happened? 164,000. Okay. Well, these payments just simply go away, and then bam. So this goes from negative 477 to 4683, $4,683.31. And did you see how this income stayed the same? Like, this income literally stayed the same, and all we did was shift some expenses, and this negative $477 turns into over 4,000, right? It's almost as good as over 9,000. I don't know if you get that joke from Dragon Ball, over 9,000. Just type in over 9,000 Dragon Ball. But anyways, all right, so now put the entire paycheck. Here's the final step, right? Here's the ultimate final step to this not saving money, is that as soon as you get paid, throw everything into the line of credit and then take your expenses out at the appropriate moments. And then rinse and repeat over and over again, right? Rinse and repeat over and over again. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this, and we're just going to do G2 plus H2 minus our cash flow. Whoopsie. H2 minus our cash flow. 4683.31. And then what we're going to do is take the average daily balance, right? Multiply by the interest rate and divide by 12, because that we obviously are going to get charged for using line of credit, in this case home equity. And look at this. All right, this is the most amazing thing. See, we were negative 400, meaning our the amount that we owed was increasing at least from our checking account to the bank, rather than what the bank holds for us, right? And then we're just going to go right here, and then bam, month 40, right? How do we get from negative $400 to just wiping out our credit card debt in a little bit over 3 years? 3 years and 3 4 months? That was simple. Okay, like, no one ever goes from here to here in an instant. And do you see, like, if you were in this situation, how much a line of credit would help you? But you won't get it because banks won't don't lend money to people who need it, right? All right, so now this is what's gonna happen. Okay, so this is gonna be 164K, and then this is going to be okay. So that's 40. What was that? 40 what months? 40 months. 40 months. Yeah. So I'm just gonna do this right here, and then just type in the milestones. My milestone tracker is very simple. I just put milestone, and that's it. And then now copy and paste, and look at that. Auto loan, student loan, and the mortgage. And then let me just do this. So I just type in month 40. So I've done this demonstration before, but you just type in month 40 in this loan tracker, amortized loans, and it tells you, ta-da, the current balance of these loans, right? And then you just look at this, oh, cash flow index, interesting. Just follow the same formula. Pay off the 7 grand, get about $400 back in your cash flow. But here, I don't want to pay off the student loan, even though a lot of people think, oh, 7% interest. 7% interest. I got to get rid of that. And it's like, no, no, get rid of this first, get the extra cash flow, then apply it to the 7% loan. Look at this. It's the loan is ready to die off. Let's go ahead and kill it. Okay. So let's go ahead and do this and do this. And then it'll be plus 7702.44. And then you see that even if our cash flow doesn't increase, it just dies off in 2 months, right? So let's go ahead and increase our cash flow. So by $395 and then $5,000. Wow, that was really quick. Okay, here we are being an irresponsible doctor with all this debt maxed out, medical school loans and, nice mortgage for probably a $500,000 house. And no, we're good. 5078.62. That's our cash flow. And look what a difference it made. Very little. Still 42 months, right? And then we see that the average daily balance went down a little tiny bit. Amazing. Okay, so now in 42 months, this gets all paid off. So it's going to be 164 plus 22, so it's going to be 186K. Okay, and then that's going to be 40 plus 22. Okay, 40 plus 22. That's going to be 62K. So or 62 months. I'm sorry, not 62K. And then in 62 months, hold on, what am I doing? It's for just 42 months. Why did I add them? Okay, so 42 months, 186K. Can't do math right now. And then right now, so this is going to be 0, and then we are at month 42, 42, 42, 42. Okay, so here's the thing. A lot of people don't understand the nuances about like loans and lines of credit because you'll hear on the internet that a line of credit is always better than a loan, and that's not really true, right? The loan has its own purpose, line of credit has its own purpose. Um, and there are things out there in the marketplace that people pay a ton of money for that people don't really see the value until you're deep in it, if that makes sense, right? So one of the things they talk about is like, did you know that there's dedicated websites out there, software like Zapier, what else? Like, that connect one website to another so they can speak to each other, like Salesforce and QuickBooks. And companies pay a ton of money for that kind of software, right? So there are certain points where you could kind of think of your line of credit as like your financial hub or your financial bridge, where you could dump all of your money in and then you'd be perfectly fine. But one of the things that I want to say is that if you move a low interest loan into a high interest line of credit, so for example, this 3% loan into a high interest line of credit, you see that we were comfortable doing this because it had a low cash flow index. So the cash flow that we got um, overall would offset that interest. It didn't really matter. 3 to 8 didn't really matter, right? And same thing here. If it's a comparable interest rate, like moving a 7 to 8 is not that big of a deal, right? Like if you might be overpaying a little bit, but a 4 to an 8 is going to be a big deal. A 4 to a 15 will be a really big deal, and 4 to a 30, you can't even pay it off if you move the entire loan into a line of credit, right? A lot of people don't understand that, but I'm just going to move this 7 into an 8 for now because it's very similar, and I'm lazy and I want to just get this show you this demonstration. So we'll just have comparable, what's it called, outcomes. 159,705.84. Okay, and then, so what happens when we move that student loan into the line of credit? Oh, this is a 0. Wow. Okay, so now $7,633 is our cash flow. So let's just kind of go back here and copy and paste. So let's go ahead and do that. So minus, okay, 7633, and then copy and paste. And then I'm going to do 65, right? So 65 months. Okay. Here's the thing. All right. So now what we do is we just do 186 plus 220 is 406K, and be 42 plus. Actually, it's not even 42 plus. It's just, what is it, 60 something months? See, I got a really bad memory. It's 65 months. Okay, 65 months. 65 months. So let me just do that right here. 406K at 65 months. So back to my point about, moving the whole loan into a line of credit because loan bad, line of credit good. You'll hear that a lot, but that can actually be detrimental. So here's two options that you have. Number one is that you just make extra payments. Now, here's how I see extra payments. It's the default option that's right in front of you that you're never going to do. It's kind of like going to the gym in New Year's, right? It's like, yeah, you think you're going to do it, but then you're not, right? Because if everybody could do it, why don't they do it? Why do you need, different, ways of paying off the loan? Well, that's because when you make an extra payment, just like making an extra payment on a credit card, and technically this is like the same situation, you have a much harder time controlling your cash, the way that your cash moves in and out of your bank accounts, right? But if you do it with the line of credit, it's much easier, right? And there's a way to do it with the line of credit. There are certain situations where you might pay just a little bit more interest. So, for example, I showed what's it called? A scenario where, hey, you pay a 0% loan, which is the worst case scenario, with an 8% line of credit, then you only pay like $2,000 more. But the most important thing when it comes to this is that you just pay off the mortgage last, right? You don't follow that pill method according to this because that's paying off the mortgage first and we're maximizing our cash flow. Yeah, we had to pay 46 grand and 88 grand here, but okay, now we're at a point where we could just pay off everything and we won't have to pay all that interest. Okay, because we've maximized our cash flow. So whether the interest rate is 8, 15, 30, we'll be fine, right? And here's another way that I see it, right? The best credit decision is not the best financial decision. So if you want access to the bank's tools, which is renting the bank's money, right? Like you got to pay a little bit of money. Like have you ever had a credit card and never used it? And then like you get something in the mail where it's like we're shutting down your credit card. Like, oh, why? Because you never used it. See what I mean? Banks got to make a little bit of money too. See, I don't want to make them. I don't want to see them making a ton of money off of me, but just a little bit of money's fine. All right, so now let's go ahead and do this. So we're going to do something called chunking, which is just, or I'll call it sweeping. I won't even use chunking from now, which is just, moving a piece of loan into the line of credit. So what we're going to do is just do $13,000 sweeps, right? So I just have this calculated information here. So basically what you do is from this starting point, just sweep 13,000 and then you'll see that in 3.6 years, we this is what we pay. And this is what would be paid if you just made the minimum payment, aka the monthly payment for the rest of the 30 years, right? So 3.6 years. See how easy that is? Because I did this last time, so I pre-filled everything. But yeah, so basically, the reason why this is easier to execute is because every time you do extra payments, you literally have to think about doing it, kind of like going to the gym in New Year's. Well, actually, that's not exactly the same. Like when you go to a gym in New Year's, you think about doing it, and then you just don't. Well, actually, it is the same, isn't it? Okay, never mind. I'm just speaking out loud. But the reason why this is easier is because all you're thinking about is your checking account going to zero and then your line of credit going to zero. So there's very little thinking involved, other than you just have to pay off your mortgage last, right? Okay. All right. So, anyways, let's go ahead and go back here, and we'll just finish this off for now. So this is going to be, how much was this? This is 3.6 years, so it's going to be 65 divided by 12 plus 3.6, and that's 9.02 years. And how much debt was that? That's 406 plus 430, and that's 836K debt free. All right, well that's it for today, folks. If you're a doctor, please let me do this. Say this: if you made it to the end of this video and you're not a medical doctor, just say I'm a financial doctor. Right? Write that in the comments below. Let me know that you you made it to the end of the video. Now, if you're a medical doctor, just type in I'm a MD. Let me know, or else I'm gonna keep making videos until I can't breathe anymore. No, I'm just gonna keep making videos until a doctor comments. Okay, I'm just gonna keep making the same video. Okay, well, have a great day, everybody. I'll see you in the next video.